Sorry about that. Okay, so I, for those of us who were on, I apologize. I'm not sure precisely what happened, but I know that the computer went dead and I'm plugged back on. So bear with me. So bear with me as we continue. I know that I was on the point when I was talking about. I was talking about. I've just talked a bit about love and the. We're still focused on what is it that makes a marriage work, and I was going through some of the points. We've covered a few of them. Um, I'd mentioned things like being other centered. Talked about. I just recently talked about resources, the impact of resources. And I was just about to talk about the choice of a marriage partner. So for those of us who were watching, I genuinely apologize for that interlude or break in transmission. But if you're back here, just continue to listen. So the point here is that the one of the most important factors is the choice of a marriage partner. And in talking about the choice of a marriage partner, that there are two things to have in mind. There are two things to have in mind. Um, there are two extremes. There are two extremes. One extreme, good evening, Pastor Johnny, welcome. One extreme is where a person is totally, completely dependent on God in the choice of a partner. In other words, it's you have to trust God, but there is a human part and a divine part. So one extreme is where a person, a human being, puts all the responsibility on God Himself and doesn't want to play a part. So that's one extreme, and we can talk about that extreme. The other extreme is when when people generally accept all the responsibility, the full responsibility for who they have to marry. So in the first extreme of the choice of a marriage partner, the experience that Adam had, which is a very unique experience, is that for Adam, the Bible says that God put him to sleep and out of him brought his wife and brought the wife to him as his partner. So Adam was not very engaged in the process. It wasn't a question of what Adam wanted, it was a question of God. But the big difference here is God who knows all things. God knew exactly what Adam needed. He brought to Adam a partner that was everything Adam would ever need, a partner in the sense of human relationship. And remember that the language of scripture implies that God had looked to see what is there any of these creatures that can be a partner for Adam? Can the animal, can the lion, the elephant, the hippopotamus, can the snail, can the tortoise, can the cock, the snake and all that? Because God looked and said, it's not good that man should be alone. I'm going to find him somebody comparable to him. It means that there was nobody, nothing created by God that was comparable to Adam. So God brought Eve to Adam, brought her out of him and gave Eve to Adam. So that's one extreme. But in this particular extreme, the difference is that God is making the choice. God brought Eve to Adam. What was Adam's response? Adam accepted Eve as a partner, the bone of my bone, the flesh of my flesh, and so on and so forth. Now, for those of us who live today who want to marry, remember that even though God has a part, but because of the agency theory of man, the fact that man is a human agent, that we are involved in the process, our will is involved in the process. God does not impose himself on us. He guides us, he leads us by his spirit. So God will lead you in the choice of a partner, but God expects you to make the final choice and accept responsibility for your choice. So if you put everything on God and you're not part of that process, you don't do your human part, that could be a big challenge. In other words, God doesn't want a situation where people are saying, well, is the woman you gave me or the husband you gave me? He wants to say, I'll guide you, but you choose. You make the choice. Your will is involved. And then the other extreme of a marriage partner is when we humans generally, or people generally, just are the ones with their eyes wide open looking, and that is under the assumption that you know what you want in life. But the truth is that because marriage is for the long haul, marriage is for a lifetime, we might not always know what is best for us. So we need to trust God. So the middle of the road is a partnership between God and man, a partnership between God, our creator, and us. So the choice of a marriage partner is one of the most important factors in marriage, because you have to make sure in choosing that there's alignment of values, alignment of purpose. By values, we mean the principles that govern your life. What do you believe in? Some people believe in telling the truth. Some people believe that they need to cheat some of the time. We have all kinds of values. Everybody has a value system. Everybody has their belief system. What do you believe? What does your partner believe? In fact, the way the Bible puts it, it says that you should not be unequally yoked. It says that light has no ministry, no business, no partnership with darkness. What the Bible is really saying here is talking about alignment of values. When you choose to marry, you have to marry like yourself so that you avoid conflict. Of course, the best way to live is to be a person of value, a person that has commitment to the right principles, a person that lives by positive principles and the right attitude, and so on and so forth, and marry a person like yourself. Then there's also the issue of purpose. Purpose. By purpose, I mean life mission. There should be alignment in life mission also. When people are getting married, of course, you can't know everything. But remember, it's important that people are moving in similar directions. It doesn't mean similarity of profession, but it means that both of you will be, whatever you choose to do for a living should be mutually reinforcing. You must consider the other person. You must consider what your partner, what his life mission or her life mission is, what they're trying to do with their life. Just a moment, please. So there's alignment in values, there's alignment in mission, and there should be alignment in other areas. People that are getting married should be able to have a lot of things in common. They don't have to be uniform, but they have to be able to know that two people living together, it takes a lot of work, and it's good to make the work easier by making sure you're thinking through. And then let me now come back to the factor of love. The most important ingredient for successful marriage is actually love. Love. That two people that choose to marry, they have to love each other. And there are many ways we can define love. We can define love as emotions, but love is not emotion. It only involves emotions. We can define love as attraction. Love involves attraction, but love is much more than attraction. We can define love as the words we speak, but like when you tell somebody, I love you. Yes, love involves verbal acceptance, verbal or utterances. Love involves words, the use of words. Love involves conveying the fact that you love a person and a partner. But love is more than that also. And one thing we have to remember about the word love as we consider it is that remember that we use the word love in so many ways. People say, for example, I love jollof rice. I love Chinese food. I love my car. I love CNN, or I love basketball. I love sports. I love soccer. And when you say I love rice, and you say I love you, what makes the difference between loving rice and loving a person? That's why we say that love. We need to define what love is, and the best definition of love, it's actually the Bible, because the Bible defines love in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. May I just read that passage and before we move on, just to give you a biblical definition of love. And I know most of us are conversant with that passage, reading from the New King James Version. It says, though I speak with tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I've become a sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. And do I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge? And do I have all faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I'm nothing. And do I bestow all my goods to feed the poor? That means become a martyr for the gospel. Or do I give my body to be burned, become a martyr, but have not love? It profits me nothing. Love, what then is love? It says, love suffers long. Love is kind. By suffering long, it's talking about suffering long towards people, which is what you might call endurance in a sense, or patience. Let's call it patience here. When you suffer long towards people, you are patient with people. Then, of course, love also suffers long with circumstances, which is more like endurance or perseverance. Then it says, love is kind. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. Love is not puffed up, does not behave itself rudely. That means love is not rude. Love does not seek its own. Love is not self centered. Love is not easily provoked. Love does not think evil of its neighbor or his partner, does not rejoice in iniquity. Love rejoices in truth. Love bears all things. Love believes all things. Love hopes all things. Love endures all things. And it says that love never fails. This is the kind of love that is required in marriage. In fact, what the Bible says is that husband should love their wives as Jesus loved the church. Love. Husbands to love their wife as Jesus loved the church. What does this mean? Well, talking to the men, how did Jesus love the church? Well, he loved the church enough that he died for the church. It means that every husband that really wants to have a successful home should live their life in a way that they're actually willing to sacrifice their life for their partner. By the way, it's important to remember about marriage that when two people are getting married, they are getting married, that they should love each other. When they have children, they should love their children. But remember that the children will come, they will grow up, and they will move on. And where God spares the life of a couple, they will still continue to live together long after they've raised their children and they've moved on. So when you talk about love in marriage, it's not a love that should diminish because you're not having children. So they are members of the family, your family is expanding. This love is a love that is very fundamental and crucial to the success of a marriage. So what do we mean by this love? It says that love suffers long. So this is more than emotion. This is more than just saying I love you. It's a kind of love that is very, very selfless. Look at the qualities of this love. Let's read it one more time. It suffers long, it's kind. I hope you know what is kindness, showing kindness to your partner. It means going out of your way to do good to your partner. It says love does not envy. When you love your partner, you can't be envious of your partner. Notice what it didn't say. It didn't say love is not jealous, because jealousy is not necessarily a negative thing. Envy is negative, always negative, but jealousy is a positive thing because God is a jealous God. You should be jealous of your partner. It's a positive thing. What it means is that you're protective of your partner. The women normally should be protective of their husband. That's jealousy. It's not mentioned there as a quality, as a negative. I mean, it's not said here, mentioned there as something negative. Okay, like saying that love does not envy. This love is not jealous. So it's good to make that distinction between envy and jealousy. They're not precisely the same. Then it says of love, it says that love, it does not parade itself. Love doesn't show itself. Love does not want to get in front. That was going to lead me to the next point later on. Love does not parade itself. It's not puffed up. Love is not a big deal in terms of trying to show why it doesn't have a superiority complex. Neither does it have an inferiority complex, but it's not puffed up. Love is very gentle. So love does not behave itself rudely. Love is not rude. Love avoids rudeness. Love is able to catch itself and does not try to insult the other partner. The temptations are there, the possibilities are there, but you have to catch yourself. You have to hold yourself. Love does not seek its own. That's called selflessness. In a marriage situation, one of the things that come up over and over and over again, why many homes break up, is people are seeking their own. Apart from the question of irresponsibility, not being responsible enough, we have people that enter the marriage institution and they're still very much concerned about themselves. They are seeking their own. And that's something to avoid. If you're going to have a marriage that goes the distance, you cannot afford to be married and be seeking your own. You can't succeed by yourself. A successful marriage takes a lot of work. You have to work on yourself more than anything else. By the way, when I say a lot of work, I don't mean working on your partner. You don't need to work on your partner. I mean, you can instruct your partner, you can share with your partner, but most of the work is on yourself. So you have to work on yourself in a way that you are increasingly other-centered, thinking about the other person and what they need and how you can be a blessing to them. You don't need to spend most of your time seeking for your own. Love is not easily provoked. What does that mean? It means that when you love a person, or you grow in love, or you try to personalize the qualities of love, that you will not be easily provoked by your partner. That means that because you love them, you are patient towards them. Because you love them, you are tolerant of them. Your love for them will cover a multitude of sin. Now, the temptation will be there to rebuke this, rebuke that, but that's growth in love. Love thinks no evil. Love doesn't think evil of the other partner. And that's why I mentioned things like trust, because one thing that can make a partner to start to think evil is when trust is broken and the mind starts to wander and you're not able to think clearly when you think about your partner. But love, real love, love does not think evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, doesn't rejoice in sin. Love rejoices in the truth. And then love bears all things. Love is very bearing. It bears all things. Marriage is going to afford you many opportunities to bear things, to not only be tolerant, to be very accommodating, and to be less judgmental, not to be judgmental of your partner, to have a large heart, Then love hopes all things, endures all things. So that's love. But let me go from love to attitudes. Maybe that's where we'll probably be focusing. Maybe I don't know how much time we have. Attitude. Having one of the things that makes a marriage work is having the right attitude. What I might call putting on the right mindset. The right mindset. Now, what do I mean by mindset? I know that when you think about mindset, I think about it as a mind that is set, or the way a person reasons, because our mind, our thoughts determine our destiny. It's a process, because the way I think influences what I believe. What I believe influences how I live, or my actions. What I act determines my results, or my character, and my character determines my destiny. So it's extremely important that we think about what we're thinking about. What's your mindset? What do you believe about yourself? What do you believe about people generally? Do you believe, like Professor Dweck would say, do you believe in the growth mindset or the fixed mindset? In other words, do you believe that life is static, that you are not growing, that you don't have the capacity for growth? Do you believe that where you are is where you always be? How is this relevant in marriage? Well, let me tell you why this is important. It's important that in getting married, if we're going to have successful marriages, that we view our spouses as work in progress, that our spouses are people, and that they are not sealed in terms of their destiny. They're going to grow throughout their lives. They're going to grow in many areas of your life. That our spouses are not only growing, that we ourselves are growing. That kind of mindset would give you the ability, or provide you the capacity to be tolerant of other people, to be able to build the kind of atmosphere where people can thrive. Remember, it's possible to build a home where everybody's dodging everybody's so self-conscious, everybody is not willing to try to take risk, everybody's not willing because they're thinking, I'm going to be judged and I'm not going to be accepted. And it's all work. It takes a lot of work, plenty of work, to be able to have a home like that. So these are some of those factors, some of the things to think about, some of the things that will make your marriage work. And these are the antidotes to the things people do that make it difficult for homes to succeed. Remember that we started this session by talking about what are the things over the years that we have observed that those things have made homes to break up. They made homes not to be successful. And we said a lot of things, things like just not being able to enter the marriage institution with a sense of responsibility, that when I'm getting married, I'm now not only responsible, or should be responsible, I'm now accountable to another person, my partner. That my partner is a person that I should view as work in progress. By that, what I really mean is that you can't just think that how a person is how they are. Now, I know that it's been said that many of the things that shape our life, we experience them in our formative years, and that people don't change much throughout life. That is true. But people do change some, and that some can be massive when it's compounded over a lifetime. Give your partner room to change. Give yourself room to change. Do not be so judgmental. You think that that's how you are. That's how you always be. You are always this. You always forget you always forget the key. You forget this and all that. Be tolerant. It's a mindset. It's maturity. It's maturity of mind to say, you know what? I'm going to allow my partner to enjoy life and to grow. When you make observations, you have to say to yourself, by the way, how do I give room? How do I allow those things to have a positive impact on my partner? The other point that comes to mind, even as we come to this junction, is the junction of what I call conflict resolution. I was almost going to skip that, but I shouldn't skip that. In a relationship between two adults, conflicts will always occur. Why is that? Because you're coming from diverse backgrounds. Several factors have shaped your life. And so when you have conflict in marriage, people that visually want to build a successful home must think through to say, when there's a conflict, that how do we resolve them? There's a difference between a conflict and an argument. When people don't have a conflict resolution mechanism, they can lead to argument that lead to fight, that can even lead to very destructive tendencies and perhaps even murder. Those things have happened. But when somebody has a different point of view, or you have different views of the same thing, how do you resolve things? You have to make up your mind that we have to have a way that will resolve our issue. When there's a disagreement, we must be able to sit down and talk and share our thoughts and share experience. And that leads me to what I call that one of the factors that make a home work is continuing to build your relationship throughout your relationship. May I explain that? Before marriage, people have all kinds of relationships. They have acquaintances, they have long-term relationships, they have some people date, some date for a while, some date for a long time, But what we normally encourage couples to say, by the way, the legitimate legitimate person to really, really date is your partner. In other words, that when you marry, that you should really make your partner your real date in life. You must create opportunities where you go out and spend time to have the kind of discussions that allow for positive growth. How are you doing? How is life with you? How are you getting on at work? How are you getting on with your boss at work, with your colleagues? You create an atmosphere that you can share life, because sometimes people live together under the same roof and they're not talking, they're not sharing experience, they don't have enough reason to share their life, they don't have moments when they can laugh for no just reason, they don't have a pillow talk. And meanwhile, people that are not married are tempted to enjoy all these things, but the people that legitimately should enjoy them do not enjoy them. So I ask for those who are in marriage, do you date your spouse? And then for those who are preparing to marry, just remember that you must create the atmosphere where you sit down, have a meal together. I'm not talking about family meal, you, your wife, your children. I'm talking about you and your spouse. Have a meal in a relaxed atmosphere. You just have to be in love with each other. That means that you have to make each other your best friends. So one of the other factors is that marriages that work, the couples are usually best of friends. I don't know how many friends you've had, but when you're preparing to marry, just remember that you cannot be married and have best friends outside of your partner. You can, but the best marriages are where the partners in a home are best of friends. And it's a very important factor in marriage. And by the way, that brings me to the next point. The next point is that because when you marry, before you married, you had all kinds of relationships. Just remember that the Bible says that so shall a man leave father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. That you cannot have a successful home when there are loyalties and allegiances that are stronger than the one that you're building at home. When people have relationships that keep them from coming home. One of those complaints are, especially people in the early hours of your marriage, when people get married and, depending on the part of the world where you live, you finish work, you hang out with your friends, your partner is waiting at home and they're waiting for you. You just live as if you're still, like a single person, you're still hanging out with your single friends, and you don't make the important transition from being single to being married. So that's one of the factors you have to consider. When you marry, you have to create time, not just the way I've described it as dating time, but I'm talking about time to enjoy your home, to enjoy meals at home, do stuff together. When you close at work, you're headed home as much as possible because you have somebody you want to build a relationship with or continue to build a relationship with. So these are some of the factors. There could be many more factors that a person should consider. Some of this we'll treat next week when we start talking about what should you be doing when you're getting married. But these are some things that make a marriage work. Remember I mentioned things like mindset. I didn't spend a lot of time there, but let me just say this about mindset. The growth mindset means that you give allowance for not just you to grow, but for your partner to grow. And then if you have Professor Dweck has called a fixed mindset, it just means that you are always focused on what is. You don't think about what can be, and that has caused a lot of problems in many homes around the world. So as I begin to summarize, one of the things you have to remember is that every successful marriage is built by the partners in the marriage. There is having a successful home, building a successful home, being successful in marriage is not automatic. By the way, marriage is an area of life. It can be a PhD holder in an aspect of life. You can be a college professor. You can be a renowned professor and fail woefully in the school of marriage. And by the way, that's been the experience of some people. Some people have been very famous, very successful in some aspects of life and have not been as successful in building a successful home. And I think part of the reason is that there are skills required to build a home. And those skills, like every other skill, they are acquired. But to acquire them, you have to work at them. That's why I say that the greatest work we do is working on ourselves. And the greatest skill is just love. Just being able to live selflessly. And so remember that is a choice we must make. One of the things I tell people, especially intending couples, is that see your marriage as a project that cannot fail. See your marriage as a project that, oh, I'm getting into marriage. I'm getting myself involved in a project, and this project must succeed. This project is going to succeed. But then let me pause here to say that, is it possible that marriages sometimes do not succeed because some partners are very difficult? They enter marriage with a lot of baggage. They haven't really worked on themselves. They haven't grown emotionally. They've not grown mentally. They've not grown spiritually. They've not grown in their capacity. My answer is yes. Sometimes that happens. That happens that you sometimes I've met people that I would, in a sense, consider difficult. That means that they were focused too much on others than themselves. They were not thinking as much of what they could do to be better, to make life easier for themselves and their partners. They focus too much time, too much energy talking about the other person, how they've been hurt, how this has happened, that has happened. But I want to encourage you that you should remember that do not be the difficult one in any relationship, especially a marriage relationship. Make up your mind that in every relationship you're involved with, you're not the difficult partner. You're not the kind of person that makes life difficult for other people. You have to, it's a choice you have to make, that I'll make life easy for those who work with me, those who do stuff with me, especially my partner in marriage, that they'll be so glad that they married me, that I will work so hard on myself that I'm easy to get along with. I'm an easy going person. That doesn't make you lightweight. That doesn't make you naive. That doesn't make you simplistic. It just makes you more mature. Remember, it's almost like the similarity between weakness and meekness. In your marriage, you want to be considered meek. Meek simply means that you have strength under control. Weakness is lack of strength. Oh, I don't know what to do. I'm confused, But meekness means that when you can hit at somebody, you don't hit at them because you choose to control yourself. So my conclusion today is that one of the biggest things we can do is to put on the mindset that views marriage as a project we're embarking upon that we genuinely want to succeed in. Every happy couple are happy because sacrifices are made. Anybody that is self-centered is not likely to have a happy home. If you center on yourself, focus on yourself, it's not very likely you're going to have a happy home, because it's going to be at the cost of your partner. You have to be willing to be able to let go of some things. You must think of one way to make your partner happy every day of your life. You're going to go out of your way. If anybody that really wants to focus on themselves should forget about marriage, but it's not possible. Maybe it is, but then it's extremely difficult to have a working marriage where the partners are focused on themselves. In fact, self-focus leads to self-conflict and leads to all kinds of battles in the longest run. Is it possible to build a successful home? The answer is yes. Yes, every sounding yes, over and over and over again. Both from scripture today, from what the Bible teaches us about love, and from my experiences as a person, I know that a home built on sacrificial love is likely to go the distance and succeed. But remember that one of the points I'm making today, and I'm sure that this is something that you should have observed, is that love is not just the emotion of saying I love you. And the reason I've said, because of how often we can say I love jollof rice, I love burger, I love, we love everything. We love all kinds of things. But the kind of love that makes a home work is not, it's not that kind of mushy love. It's kind of love that is both logical, both emotional, and both responsive. It's a love that is very deliberate, very intentional. It's a love that is an active verb, a love that involves a lot of action. It's actually just seeking the highest good and the fulfillment of your partner at your price and at your own expense. Loving husbands, they love their spouse at their expense. Loving wives, they love their husband at their own expense. They go out of their way to make their home work. They go out of their way to do stuff for their partners. And those are very intentional things. Those are very, very deliberate effort and deliberate things that we have to do. And I'm so glad you've been able to join us today. Let me see if there is one or two questions I could attend to. Are there any questions I can attend to today? Well, I don't see any posted here. I don't have the access to the Instagram page right away. But what I will say in the few minutes that we have left, I want to apologize for that break in interlude or break in transmission. It's something that we'll try and avoid. But if you do have any questions, would you be kind enough to post them, to send them, and we'll try and tackle them. I'm glad to have you. And for those of us who might watch this afterwards, if you still have any questions, please be glad to send them across. I know that Pastor Ngozi will be here next week. Unfortunately, she's unavoidably absent today. And next week, like I've already mentioned, we're going to be dealing with the things we should be doing as we get ready for marriage. And if you're out there, you're thinking, Pastor John, how can I know whom to marry? Well, today I've started helping you to think through about the kind of person you want to be. Take time to be the right kind of person. By the way, somebody has said, and I've quoted this in the past, that Jim Rohn said, success is not what you pursue, it's whom you become. You actually attract the kind of spouse that you are and the kind of person you want to marry by being the right kind of person. So the best way to find the right partner in marriage is actually to become the right person in marriage. The best way to be the right partner, to find the right partner in marriage, is to become the right partner in marriage, because you attract whom you are, what you are. And success is not something that you pursue, it's something that you become. And when you become, then success will pursue you. When you work on yourself, believe me, people are observing you. Do you realize every day that for those of us who are single, or those people that are single and planning to get married, every day you meet people, potential partners, and they're observing you in many ways. And they're thinking, can I live with this person? When you open your mouth and say something, the way you respond to difficult situations, people are watching. And if you work hard on yourself, you'll be surprised how many people will be drawn to you. There will be people that will say, oh God, I will give anything to spend the rest of my life with this person. I love the way she handled matters. I love her leadership skills. I love the way she leads our team, and so on and so forth. So it's a big deal to work on yourself. It's the hardest work, working on ourselves, and that's how we prepare. So I want to pray, take a moment and pray for those of us, particularly for people who are planning to marry. I pray that God will order your steps and that you will find that right person. But I also pray for you that you are taking time to build on yourself. You're taking time to work on yourself, that your partner, your future partner, will be so grateful to God that they met you. It is one of the biggest things in life is meeting people who are kind, who are nice, who are the epitome of this love that is being described in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. They are a delight to work with, to partner with. They're just such a blessing. They make a home worth living in. They make life worth living. They make you look towards life with zest and excitement, and nothing, no challenge is too difficult, because you have a partner that believes in you. And may this be our portion in Jesus' mighty name. And for those of us who are already married, I pray for your marriage. I say, in blessing, may God bless your home, expand your home, and use you more and more, that his kingdom come in every area of your life. Thank you for listening today. And I sincerely look forward to being with you next week. I'm so glad that you are able to join us, and God bless you mightily. I hope that your life is a blessing to somebody somewhere in the world. And thank you. So let me say hello as I sign off to all my friends, the ones that are watching. Pastor Johnny from all the way from Liberia. My good friend Jake Epele, great man of God. I don't know whether he's locked down in Abuja, but Jake, wherever you are, you're such a blessing. I'm so glad to have you online. And my little sister Ngozi Adachiba, thank you for watching. I look forward to connecting with you more. Amaka, well done. Pastor Godwin Oakman, God bless you. Toyin, blessings to your family. And my very busy wife that is in another part, I'm trying to meet up with her deadlines. I said, thank you. Odubosala, well done. Well done. And Pastor Charles, it's great to have you today. And other people that I may not be able to see those in Instagram, I look forward. By the way, remember next week, we're talking about what exactly are we talking about again? What I should be doing, what you should be doing as you prepare to marry. And I look forward to receiving your comments, and we'll keep moving forward. Thank you one more time, and God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your evening or day, wherever you are. Be blessed, and bye for now.